Bună seara, eu sunt Roxana de la iCarte, iParte. Este luni 24 aprilie, aproape ora 19. Mă pregătesc să intru în clubul de lectură din luna aprilie. De această dată avem în atelierul de magie și alături de noi va fi Dr. James R. Doty. Sunt puțin emoționată, nu este prima dată când am un club de carte internațional pe care îl moderez, însă este un om... Vorbim totuși despre un neurochirurg la Universitatea de Stanford, un neurochirurg de succes care a scris această carte și pe care am recomandat-o tuturor din comunitate și mă bucur foarte mult că o avem la acest club de lectură și că autorul însuși poate participa. Vă dați seama, vorbim de un om care operează pe creier, adică nu are timp de genul acesta de evenimente. Mi-a și menționat în e-mail că de obicei nu participă din cauza timpului, dar a promis că va intra la clubul nostru de lectură. Sunt puțin emoționată, vă ziceam, și abia aștept să intru să povestim. Îi aștept și pe ceilalți cititori care se vor conecta și în curând. Mai avem câteva minute. Nu o să înregistrez toată ora și jumătate, cam așa ne-am propus să stăm, o oră și ceva, dar am vrut să vă arăt puțin cum decurg lucrurile sau cum se desfășoară lucrurile într-un club de lectură iCarte, iParte. Eu sunt Roxana, mulțumesc că sunteți aici. Dacă vreți să vă înscrieți la aceste cluburi de lectură, care au loc în fiecare lună, în ultima luni din lună mai exact, vă invit să vă abonați la acest canal de YouTube, să apăsați clopoțelul de notificări și să veniți în comunitatea iCarte. Ce înseamnă asta? În grupul privat de pe Facebook iCarte, iParte, pe Instagram iCarte, iParte, emisiunea la radio iCarte, iParte și peste tot unde mai vedeți voi iCarte, să știți că acolo este Roxana. Mulțumesc, să aveți seară faină și haideți să vedem ce se întâmplă la clubul de carte. So I think Mr. Doty is with us. Hello. Hello. Nice to meet you and to see you. We are talking, somebody asked me, how did you convince Mr. Doty to accept the invitation, because he's so busy. And so thank you so much you are here.
You're correct. In fact, I have to be honest, I'm not sure why I accepted your invitation. But what can I tell you?
Because all of us have your book, and we read your book, and we are so happy to talk to you about this book. So I think we will start, because I know that you can stay only maximum 1 hour. Yeah?
Let's start.
Yeah, we can start. So who wants to start? I will put the first question, how was the book? Who was? I will take in order, like Daciana is the first one. And actually I want to mention that Daciana gave me this book. Because of her, we have this book now on this book.
Hello, I'm Daciana. So I received the book from one of my best friends, and she said something like, I think you have to read it in order to know where your magic came from. So it was amazing. It was a journey that I wanted to never stop. And now I'm very nervous because you are here, and actually we can meet you. So yeah, I'm honored and very happy.
Veronica, you are the second one here in my list.
Oh my, oh my. I'm very happy to be here, and I share Daciana's enthusiasm and emotions, because I just can't believe I'm in this book club, and this book club is happening. I first read this book, I read it twice, first in 2019 and second time in 2021, and it came into my life with a friend who, in a conversation, was like, you have read Into the Magic Shop, right? And I said, oh no, but you have to read this book. And then she delivered it to me the second day at my office, and I read it. I devoured it. I didn't precisely read it. I think I devoured it in the first place. And the difference between the first time I read it and the second, it impacted me in a different way.
It's hard.
Well, the problem for some people is that they make it difficult for themselves, because they keep telling themselves, is this working, or am I doing it the right way? And then that becomes something that causes anxiety. really just sitting in a quiet place and closing your eyes and just slowly, deeply breathing and holding it for a few seconds and releasing it. It's really that simple. You don't have to get lost in whether you're doing it right or wrong. The other reality is that, first of all, no one's grading you. Second of all, you can simply be walking and be meditating. You don't have to sit in a particular space. It's really just sitting with self-awareness and being present, and then not being distracted. And this is where I think a lot of people have challenges because they think there's a right and a wrong way. What I do every day is I actually just sit by the side of my bed for about 10 minutes and close my eyes and slowly think of the joy and awe of being in this world. And then I actually go through the alphabet of the heart, which is at the end of the book, as you know. And I go through each letter. And then that really sets the tone of my day. And some people may say, well, is that really a meditation practice? And I would say it is. Just sitting calmly, reflecting, and so for me that works very well.
So for how much time? Every day? I mean, for how many minutes? I'm curious. 10 minutes?
If that. And then the thing is, if I'm stressed or anxious, what I'll do is I will just stop and relax and close my eyes and take some deep breaths and then actually think about one of those letters of the alphabet, and that again resets my intention for the day.
Thank you so much. I did this actually when I read the book. I stopped. When I read your story, I started, okay, I can do this. Aline, you are the third person here in my list. So what do we... you can tell us about the writing style. Let's move on to another question.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you. You are here with us. It's an honor, honestly, an honor. I read your book very quickly, and now I know why you accepted this meeting, because I saw on your cup it right there. You are very kind people, very kind guy. And yes, I saw that.
You pay attention to all the details.
It's clear for me now that the heart is more important than the brain, and this is a very important lesson for me. A very important lesson that you gave me with your book. I want to thank you for that.
I'll tell you a quick story. So where I live, I have a swimming pool behind my house. And at the end of the pool, on a platform sits a headless Buddha statue. So it's a modern art piece. So the Buddha has no head. And also, the Buddha is holding a persimmon. Do you guys have persimmons in Romania? Orange.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to ask what exactly.
A persimmon is an orange fruit.
Oh, okay.
But the reason I bring that up is what happens with a persimmon is that it initially is very hard and bitter. But if you're patient and wait long enough, it becomes soft and very sweet. So what that statue does for me is, because it's a headless Buddha, it reminds me not to get lost in my head, which many of us do. And in terms of the persimmon, it reminds me that oftentimes life is very hard.
I take your book such a guideline, and I like very, very, very much this resumes by the end of each chapters, and most of them, this is the wonderful thing, the breathing. Actually, the breathing is such a simple thing. The breathing is always with us, everywhere. But our mind is usually set it to complicate the things. And sometime when I read your book, I sat down and I asking me, wow, is it indeed so simply all? Simply breathe in, breathe out. And I have some, you see here, different colors.
Look at here.
Yes.
It's my first time when I do this on a book.
The neuroscience of manifestation and how it changes everything. And the book begins actually with a profanity, the first sentence, which is the universe doesn't give a fuck about you. And that probably sounds horrible. But what it means is that there is nobody outside of yourself that you can expect to change yourself, and that change comes from within you. The other reality is that oftentimes people think they know what they want, but it's incorrect. What they don't know is what they need. And so people oftentimes get lost because they think happiness is a result of getting things like wealth, a big house, a powerful position. And having been in that situation, every time I was quote unquote successful, I was never happy because I was waiting for people to tell me I should be happy, or that they would, that the knowledge that I had accomplished something and everyone knew about it would make me happy, and it did not. So I think that's a very important point, the difference between what you think you need and what you actually need.
Thank you so much. We are waiting in Romania. I want to say about the writing style, because I always look also at this point. I like it very much. Actually, it was, for example, I can give an example. It was hard to read the book from Gabor Mate, but yours, it was very easy. I didn't need a dictionary. And I was expecting that, oh my God, this book, maybe it, because you are a doctor, and I said maybe I will need again a dictionary with me, but I liked, and I hope you'll continue to write like this.
When I first started writing, I actually was much more mentally into being a doctor and a scientist, but I changed that once I realized that it actually was more powerful, in some ways, talking as a younger person and going through these experiences, and that did make a huge difference.
Thank you. So who else wants to continue to speak? And maybe with Mr. Doty, because he's answering more than we expected. Thank you.
Is it okay? Hello?
Daniela.
Yes.
Right? Hello, everyone. Hello, Mr. Doty. Hello, Roxana. Nice to meet you. Roxana stole something that I wanted to begin with, my thoughts about the book. When I found out that we have to read Dr. James Doty's book, I thought, oh my God, he's a neurosurgeon. This would be a very difficult book to read. I was preparing myself. I wanted to begin reading the book when I felt, mentally prepared for it. But it was really easy to read. Not really just easy, but extraordinary. The style was simple yet complex, but I could understand everything. I didn't need a dictionary. I love the thought that you can connect. You have to. We are brain and heart together, and the best part, I think it's almost at the end of the book that I found the best part for me is the fact that the writer says that we need people. We can achieve change within ourselves, by ourselves, but we can't live all alone because we'll get sick, we'll get, sad, we'll turn to drugs, God forbid, or alcohol, etc. So I think this is the greatest thing that I found here in the book, the fact that the writer strongly points out the fact that we can't live by ourselves. We need people to be happy, to, surpass everything that is bad in our life by connecting the heart and the mind all together. Thank you, congratulations, and hope to read you more in the future.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
I read your book actually a while ago, so not this year. I think there's been like 2 years already. But what I want to ask you is, you mentioned something that is kind of like not against, but on the other side of what you hear now about manifestation, like self-love, like do it for yourself, like everything has to be about yourself. So you mentioned something really, really interesting to me, and could you please develop more on the thing that it has to be bigger than you? Because honestly, I'm tired of reading all these manifestation books in 5 steps. Everything, I think the only word it is, it's like you. So what you mentioned, it's super nice. So yeah, I would really like, I know you have the book actually, but it's coming in a while. So if you could give us maybe 2 more hints about increasing your manifestation power by focusing on how can you be of service to the other people, because I think this is the idea.
Well, let me give you an example. There's a young lady who reached out to me actually after reading my book, and she wanted to be a doctor. And she was from Sri Lanka, and her parents had moved to the United States, and while they were professionals in Sri Lanka, her mother ended up being a caregiver and her father ended up driving the taxi. She got good grades and she went to college, a very good college, but because of a lot of family issues, she did not get very good grades, although she did okay. And she also didn't do that well on the test to get into medical school. We call it the MCAT. And she reached out to me because she'd applied to medical school 3 times and did not get in. And so I responded to her and I started talking to her and I helped her rewrite her application. But what I also explained to her was she wanted to become a doctor to show people that she was smart, that she was intelligent, that she could do this. And she also put it in the context of showing her parents that she had achieved and did what they wanted. And after a long discussion, she shifted how she looked at things to seeing how she could help people and be of service. And that changed how she thought about things. And it gave her a different perspective. So it went from being about her to being about helping other people. And the very nature of that, as well as beginning a meditation practice.
An basic quote would be, the head is strong, mind the brain. But it can really bring us what we want only if we open our heart. Also, I encountered some ideas that are similar to my parents' advice. Work and exercise are what lead us to success.
Hello, Mr. Doty. Thank you very much for today. If it's okay, I would like to ask you maybe a little bit of a technical question, because I've read the book. You mentioned that you're an atheist. So I'm assuming it's not about religion or supernatural phenomena, but then it felt to me like the manifestation was not clear, like through the book, how it really works. So you would tell the story about how you got the rent money, your family got the rent money, or how you got accepted to university without the right grades. But it felt to me like there's like a missing link between the manifestation itself to how things actually happen. Like it almost sounded supernatural or from God, but then you claim to be an atheist. So this was not so understood for me.
Well, I am an atheist. I don't believe that there's any magical person who makes things happen for us. I'm sure you've seen instances of religious people saying that some tragedy had occurred because people were sinful, and that God had reached down and struck them. In fact, there's an interesting example in the U.S. where a pastor or religious leader said, I'm glad that event happened. It killed all the homosexuals. And about a month later, there was a massive hurricane that destroyed his church. And then you could sit there and argue that he was a horrible person and God had struck him down, right? The reality is that whether you or I like it, we are a small planet in an infinite universe that frankly is incredibly insignificant. And what happens is random and by chance. Now, that is not to say that with our collective consciousness that we cannot have things manifest. But in the new book, I go into a long discussion about how the brain works, the nature of vibration and oscillation, and how that affects the brain, how your heart actually has a vibration that actually impacts others near you. I'm not here to criticize people who have a religious belief or practice. For many, many people, those types of practices are very helpful for them to live in this world. And it works to have them feel that there is something that makes sense. But I don't need that, and I also believe that you can be moral and ethical being a non-religious person. So that's what works for me. It may not work for everyone, and I respect their decisions, as long as other people don't look at everyone else and feel that they are superior to them because they have a particular religious practice. One should look at the world through the lens of oneness, and that we're all interconnected and interdependent. And if you look at the other as yourself, you always make the right decision. And you're right, in fact, it's funny, in the new book I mentioned that, and the publisher said to me, well, I'm not sure if that makes sense, and how does this relate to manifestation, and it wasn't specifically related to something, et cetera, et cetera. And she's correct, and in fact, I removed that part, or moved it to a different part of the book at the end, where I basically said, I'm not sure exactly how that worked. I can only tell you what happened. So many things do happen which have no explanation, but are they related to a higher power? I don't believe so. I think that many things, like I said, are oftentimes random, or what happens is that you put or embed an intention into your head, and while you may not appreciate the how, oftentimes the very nature of that embedded intention changes everything around you. And what I mean by that is, I'm sure that you have been at a party that is quite loud, and suddenly you'll hear your name mentioned in all of this noise. And the reason is that your name is deeply embedded in your subconscious. So you're highly attuned to hearing that. So when you embed an intention, you're highly attuned to others around you and what's going on. And while you may not appreciate it on an unconscious level, you may be doing actions that may impact that intention manifesting. Does that make sense?
Great, thank you. Yeah, actually, now I completely understood it. Thank you very much.
Sure. The other thing I thought you were going to say was that I say I'm an atheist, and then at the end of the book, I say that I use the word God. And this is at the very end where I talk about the alphabet of the heart, and I basically end with a poem that ends with the word God. And many people write me notes saying, how could I be an atheist? And you then at the end use the word God, but I'm using it in a different way. And this is basically the power of our collective consciousness and how it can have things manifest for us.
Roxana, you're here. Roxana is actually from the publishing house from Trey.
Hello, Roxana.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to hear all you have to say, and the people that read your book that are so glad that they read it, and it's amazing for us as a publishing house to hear the author and also the readers so excited.
I understand my book has been very popular in Romania.
Yes, and it still is.
You know, it's
and we
funny.
are very glad. We are very glad about this.
It's funny when
And honored that you accepted Roxana's invitation tonight.
well, she's a very powerful person.
Yes, she is.
It's interesting because even now in the United States, the book was published in February of 2016. I still get several hundred emails every month from people who've read the book. And
yes, it's that kind of book that sticks to the heart of people for a long time. Yes, it's that kind of a book.
And it's interesting that many people end up giving my book to their friends. So it's quite interesting.
Yes, I don't know if Roxana told you, but I think she told you that she received this book also as a gift.
Yes, she received it from me, but I also organized an event and I wanted to offer the book to all the ladies invited. But I was in a position to go to all the bookstores in Bucharest and also online, and I couldn't buy all the number I want to offer. So I had to split and to offer another book. So we should find it everywhere. So this is to Roxana, I suppose. Not to Mr. Doty.
And he said something that I read in your book also. The biggest despair and the hardest thing for a doctor is to accept the situation that in some moments, some situations, you cannot do anything for the person who is there in the surgery.
But it's very true. Actually, I'm going to, after this book, I'm doing another book. My life as a neurosurgeon, successes, failures, and mistakes.
I am very emotional right now because it's a very pleasure to be here and to see you in real life. I just, it's super nice.
All because of Roxana.
Yeah, she's wonderful. I cried a lot of this book because it was very, very powerful at some points where because it's a real story. And
well, listen, thank you so much. It's been a joy and a pleasure. I hope this has been useful, and I appreciate the fact that my book has been very popular in Romania, and keep giving it to people. Much love to all of you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.